Hello, my name is Amy from Moonmindology.com, and today I want to look at the government charts of Israel, Iran and the USA, and these are the most accurate times that I can get hold of, so they should be quite telling. We are at a crisis point. One of the big things is Uranus, Neptune and Pluto lining up in a minor grand trine. This will be around August 13th, and we will see Uranus, Neptune and Pluto line up tightly as they are going to get, tightly as they're going to get, 7 degrees. Also, Saturn joins in, but I'll tackle that in a moment. Pluto sits on the fixed star Altair, which is the eagle, and it's associated with ambition, but I associate it with America because the American eagle. Neptune sits near Scheat, which is a star of misfortune, and all of these connections are very intense. Then we have Neptune and Saturn conjunct in August, which can really bring some stability issues. So looking at this in terms of war, it's about land, resources and control of economic systems, the falling of empires, economic depression, radicalization, but also a fogginess that may entail lies and disillusionment. So there can be proxy wars as well. Mars comes around in Virgo, and that's going to be around about the same time in August. This could spark something. Western astrology would look at these aspects as being more positive, and thus we have to think that there could be an element of peace. Of course, standard Vedic astrology does not acknowledge the outer planets, but I do believe that if Parashara had stellarium or a refracted telescope, he would have included them. I do still think that we're going to see scarcity from Uranus and Taurus, especially in supply chains and with food, potentially oil as well. So let's have a look at the charts. We have to bear in mind that a lot of fixed stars are at play, which are negative, and aspects between outer planets are very intense, so it could go either way. Israel. Already we can see a bit of a problem here, a cluster of the ascendant moon and Jupiter, and this is in the first house, all being aspected by the 12th lord Saturn and Neptune of confusion. So there is going to be significant impacts to this country, as well as the public and the identity. Uranus is in the third of communication and travel, so that is going to be unstable due to Uranus. And I'm pretty sure that travel into the country has been stopped or reduced, and that could last quite a long time with Uranus here, giving the impression that tensions could go on for a while. Pluto is in the 11th, so we have very controlling friends. Looking at the dasha, we are in Saturn and Mercury, which is the 11th house, and there's going to be severe power struggles, obsessions, loss of friendships, loss of land potentially. Mercury rules 2 angles, and one is the home and land, and the other one is the opponents, so they could upset other nations. I do wonder if traditional allies may turn their backs on Israel. I don't like the fact that the first house is so afflicted by the Mahadasha planet. Not only that, there is an aspect to the sun. This government could end at any time. It's in danger, the constitution of this chart, especially with Mars transiting in early Virgo during August, and that will be aspecting the sun. So the first house, the ruler and the moon. This is a concerning affliction. Iran. Now, Iran is interesting. Those outer planets create a connection between the 3rd of communication, the 5th of speculation, and the 7th of opponents. They know their capabilities and they have more up their sleeves than meets the eye, I believe. That 7th house is strong and it's jam-packed. The moon's exalted and in a Parivartana yoga with Venus, and this nation is hell-bent on defending their territory, and they have more military capabilities than anyone realises. They're not passive, they're not weak. Rohini and Kritika are highly activated, showing that they can cut through opponents and fiercely defend their interests. But I don't see that Pluto playing a role here. Your worry is going to be, in my opinion, Uranus. These guys won't retaliate with bombs or strikes. That's not where they're going to hit hard. I think that they have electronic and cyber capabilities. In Taurus, they can hit resources, infrastructure, and overall stability. Iran can use modern warfare tactics instead of our traditional nuclear fears. And honestly, if I were a leader, I would say nuclear is a thing of the past. Forget about nuclear weapons. They only lead to a stalemate where you either destroy everything or nothing, and everyone just shouts scary stuff. But cyber warfare, in a world where everybody depends on electricity for banking, for food, for processing, for medicine, that's where your real weapon is. And this concerns me a little bit. As Uranus in Taurus, this really could be a time where this kind of stuff happens and becomes a significant worry, especially, as there has been a lot of hacking over the last few years. Luckily, I don't think that any transits will ignite this anytime soon, but I think personally Iran does have that in their pocket. Iran, they're currently in the dasha of the Moon and Jupiter, which are both in the 7th house of opponents. And this is really highlighting the geopolitical struggle that they are currently experiencing. It changes dasha on the 13th of August, which is the exact date that we see this crescendo of planets creating something karmic. The Moon-Saturn phase is going to take the energy so much away from the opponents and switch it more to the 4th house of the home. And this could indicate a de-escalation of the war. The Moon is about the masses and Saturn is oppressive. And there is a realism that takes over, and the public could push for the leaders to step back. This is rebuilding and it's restructuring, especially with Saturn in the 4th, natally. They want their home and their systems to be strong. And this is pointing at a potential for diplomatic containment. If Iran are going to continue to fight, it's going to be covert and more a non-physical. That could even include stopping oil, restricting it. And then we take a look at the USA. The inauguration from 2025. So this isn't quite as bad as Israel, but it's not a great chart. This is an important chart as we are asking ourselves, what is the West going to do? The first ruler is debilitated, the Moon is afflicted by K2, and it's in the 6th. The mind is warped, but K2 is so strong here that it could have a spiritual twist instead. But the saving grace is the Sun, which gets Dibala in the 10th house. So there is power and harm. It's afflicted by Mars and K2. So, there can be a lot of heat and anger. Still, it's not a strong chart, not compared to Iran either. This chart has Neptune and Pluto making a direct impact because it started not too long ago, but Rahu is pulled into the mix as well. What does concern me is that Mars is going to pass over that K2 and we could potentially see terrorism in the USA. And this could be a point where the USA has to retaliate in some way, and that is August, but hopefully they won't. The 4th house of the home and family is activated, so so is the 12th house, so there can be changes there, and there is no relief for Mars, and we could see, as I said, more terrorism during this time. I suppose that it could indicate the leader making a mistake, but I would see this more of an attack from the outside opposed to a mutual conflict. The USA has fired upon Iran, and whether or not the nation decides to retaliate, extremist groups may be unhappy with the action of the USA. And I said in my last video that Trump has a choice. And this chart having the Mahadasha of Mars and the Antaradasha of Rahu, then we look at the placements. It's worrying. Mars is debilitated, Rahu aspects. Mars from the 12th house. The people are angry. And there can be extreme situations from the 12th. But there's also another link to spirituality and faith. And these things can lead to security issues, weakening of defences, and problems with foreign conflicts. The leader is very powerful, but is at odds with that Mars. There's a lot of tension. But look at Saturn and Venus. We saw this combination in Trump's chart as well, as it was influencing his 10th house. So this could be the sign of a saving grace, of diplomatic successes in the 11th house of alliances and organisations. That leader is still very unpredictable, and there is a lot going on behind the scenes. But the Dasha sequence only continues into December 2025. And then we have the Antaradasha of Jupiter. And this is going to be so much better for diplomacy, recovery and rebuilding. So fingers crossed for an August to celebrate. 13th of August is going to be an interesting day, I think. Hopefully it's not bad. It's a Wednesday, which is Mercury's day of negotiation and communication. And it would be wonderful to see things simmer down. But thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Don't forget to leave a comment. Tell me what your personal views or opinions on, the politics or the astrology. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much. Bye.